Hello and welcome, my art-loving friends. So way back in February, I got really excited because I found this all cotton watercolor sketchbook for only $7. And it had 10 sheets or 20 pages, which was fine. But yes, it was all cotton, and not just cotton, but 140-pound cotton paper in a sketchbook for $7. So I've been working in it pretty much every day since then, and I have a lot to tell you about it. And I will be giving away 2 of them at the end of this video, which might not actually be as exciting as it sounds, but stay tuned and I'll tell you more. Just a word of warning before we start, I did film most of this sped up. So I filmed it in time-lapse before I even knew that it bothers some of you. So if you want to skip past the time-lapse part, I will put the timestamp down in the description box below, where I will go through this in real time instead of time-lapse, so you can skip through that and just get to the part where it's not going to make you dizzy or whatever. So I tried not to speed it up past the time-lapse too much, but there you have it. Well guys, we have yet another package of art supplies that I forgot I bought. And they showed up in the mail and I was so excited. So let's get into it, see what's in here. Well, I know what's in here. I peeked. I had to peek. How can you get stuff in the mail on a weekend when you're not ready to film and not peek? But I didn't open. Okay. Oh, this is so exciting. These are Franklin Christoph watercolor journals. And they are meant to fit in a very specific planner. And I don't remember the planner's name, but I'll put it up on the screen. So they're very specific size. They are basically 4 1/4 inches, a little bit over, by 8 1/4 inches. And they're supposed to be 100% cotton watercolor paper in here. So the front side texture definitely looks different than the back side texture. We'll see how successfully we can paint on both the front and the back. Binding is pretty impressive. Look at all those stitches. And a nice cover. And I got 3 because of shipping, and they were so affordably priced, in my opinion, for cotton paper that why not? I have a watercolor get-together today, so I will bring this and play with it at that watercolor get-together and see what I think. I won't film that, but I'll do some paintings on it, and then I'll come back with you guys and paint some more on it and give you my impressions. I like that they cut the corners. I don't like sharp corners, so that's kind of nice. So now the only hard decision to make is to paint on it upright or sideways. Most of the paintings I do, I think, work better sideways, so I may end up putting this one like this, but we'll find out later. We are back. I have done 2.5 paintings with this journal, and we may have a problem. I'm so sorry to have to break it to you. This lovely journal with 100% cotton paper, 140 pounds, so everything's super thick and nice and wonderful. This paper is not sized. Yeah. I decided to do the doodle wash challenge for March 2022. The first prompt is snail. So I did this snail, which required a lot of wet and wet, and I wet this background and put some paint in. Same with up here, and the paper immediately pilled. So it pilled up even with just the water before I even put the color. I could tell when I was putting my brush over it, just making it wet with water, I was getting paper pilling. So that was interesting. It's not a deal breaker because it can create really interesting textures when it does that, as long as you're expecting it. But in these more wet washes, I had to be really careful how many times I put the brush over the paper, because the more brush strokes down on the paper without being sized, the more the paper will try to give you some troubles. So keeping that in mind, going on to the second painting, I did the wet paint on dry paper technique, and that worked way better. In fact, I was actually really happy with it. It was really easy to work in, really comfortable, and that's the way to go with this journal. So back to this one though, when I did that wet on wet thing, I did try another painting on back, because in order to fit all of these prompts in this sketchbook with only 20 pages, 10 sheets, 20 pages, I need to do front and back. But you can see that snail kind of coming through here. So day 2 is lamb. I'm going to do this adorable little lamb with a smirk. I'm really looking forward to that. But you can see the colors coming through the page here. So that is what happens with paper when it is not sized properly, or sized at all, or whatever. So even though it's 100% cotton paper, we're getting a lot of bleed through. I guess keep that in mind if you want to use this. Not all of this obviously is on video because some of this I really like to play with while my students are busy in class and I have some free moments, free minutes to squeeze in and do a few things of my own. But these were done in watercolor group. So watercolor group is where a bunch of ladies and I here locally get together, and they are from my previous classes because I make great friends in my college painting classes. So that's where these two were done. This one was done in class, and we'll see what else happens. So this next clip was taken when my son and his wife came over from the Denver area, and we spent a lot of time in the studio painting together. So I was working on this, and you can see I did it out of order because I just like to do some things that were easy, then do some things that were hard later. Like I just completely did this whole challenge out of order, but I don't think it really mattered. I think if you were just trying to paint every day and go from there, then you were pretty good. So doing these washes in the background, it's nearly impossible with this, but it worked with the fish. It was okay. And the fish was just a fun one. Fun, easy, simple. However, the blue definitely went through the paper, and I'll show you that at the very end of this clip. And in this next one, I want to do a full page spread, and this is gardening tools. So I want to do a green background, and oh, it's just a disaster. And I show you here in real time what the paper is doing. It's soaking through, it's pilling. It's a total mess, but I persist because I am nothing if not persistent. So here we go. I don't finish this one though for a long time actually. So now we're actually skipping ahead. Gardening tools was prompt 6, and this is prompt 14, tulips. And so all the ones in between gardening tools and this one, I did in my class when I had time and in watercolor club. So it was not on video. Sometimes you gotta work on stuff you can't film or can't film easily anyway. So yeah, look at this. This has a lot of washes. Oh boy, is that difficult on this paper. I am so determined though to just finish the challenge, get this done, and I'm kind of excited about the concept of finishing it up. So I'm just painting along, one painting at a time, whenever I can, as often as I can. Now we're moving on to the prompt cactus, and I need to remember and remind myself how much I love doing the black outline and then painting in with watercolor in a super simple style because it's fun, it's quick, it's easy, and I think it looks awesome at the end. So I totally enjoyed this one. Would love to do way more like this in the future, so we'll see what happens. Enjoy. Next one up, the prompt was bird table, and I looked it up several different times, hoping I would get different results and stuff. I could not find anything that told me what a bird table was, so I assume it is not something from the US. So I made a bird house instead, and that's just what I went with, and I kind of like it. Also, doing trees, leaves, things like that, where the colors change randomly anyway, works really well on this paper because you put your paint down and the paint dries instantly, soaks in instantly, and then you cannot budge it, you can't move it, you can't do anything with it at all. So I love using like the greenery for this stuff. It's the only thing that worked. I used masking fluid for this next one. This prompt is glassy, and all I could really think of was glasses, so here we go. We have to leave that one to the side for a while so it can dry and work on sowing? I don't know, planting seeds. So this is another full page spread I decided to do. And it's so hard to do anything where you have to spread your colors. You just can't. And I'll show you that background in a little bit more detail. Again, it just soaks through. It's just kind of a mess. However, it was fun doing this big painting. I like doing these full page ones that are wide like that. That is kind of cool. It would be so much more enjoyable if the paper worked better for this, for sure. But now at least we can go back to the glasses, take the masking fluid off, and continue working on them, just putting in some color. They were gold rimmed, very shiny, but I just had burnt sienna and mixed it with some, I don't know, yellow ochre, I think, and left some highlight places. And then I think I showed this to you at the end and realized later I didn't get the little nose piece painted in, so I do that. There, you can see it's painted in, and then I get the gel pen out. I was pretty nervous about using masking fluid on this paper, but it came off just fine, which was a huge relief because I'm like, oh my goodness, with the luck I'm having, the masking fluid's just going to rip it to smithereens. I did have some trouble with the tape that I put in the middle of the pages to keep the sides separated when I was painting the backgrounds. Once in a while, that tape would rip. If I left it there for more than just that painting session, it was really hard to get the tape off. So for this one, I'm just laying in the background, and then we have to let it completely dry again. And it's hard because paper just really soaks in all of this, and it takes a while. I had to wait even a little bit before I could paint these branches in because it just, I don't know. If it's at all wet in the background, you put anything on there, it's just going to spread crazy bad. And then it's so funny because I paint in like the brown for the brown parts of the pussy willow poofiness things, whatever they are. And I'm like, oh, that looks really good. Maybe I should just leave the masking fluid on it. But I do eventually take it off. But it looks good with masking fluid. Like, oh, I'm done. But no, I take it off. Next up is pizza, and that's kind of an intricate thing to paint. There's a lot of things going on, and I even picked one that's relatively simple. Looks like just a Canadian bacon pizza. So trying to do a wood texture background, and that actually works pretty good on this paper because you put the paint down, it dries and sticks, and there you have a streak, so you're set. Anyway, trying to come up with the colors for the cheese and the burnt spots in the sauce was kind of fun actually, but I don't know if I pulled it off in the end. I was getting really tired of working on this paper every day, sometimes multiple times a day. I was just kind of over it, but it's okay. I am so proud that I finished it, and yes, I do finish it. You guys will see in the very end. This next prompt is Lily Pond, and I was just tired at this point and didn't really want to sketch anything, so I just went in right with the paint, and you can tell it's a flower at least, and that it's probably the right kind of flower for a lily pond. But I could have done a better job on it. It's no big deal. I actually could go back in, now that I'm thinking about it, with the black liner and probably define it and just have one of those paintings again that has the black liner around it, so that would probably work. But oh man, yeah, it's so hard to blend anything on this paper. I know I keep saying that. I'll just stop and let you watch it because it's brutal. Totally brutal. Once that's done, I start on the prompt clouds, and I knew this would be a disaster from the beginning. You can't do clouds very easily if you can't blend or lift or anything. That's one thing I forgot to tell you guys. Once you put the paint down on here, it's permanent. You're not doing anything with it. There's no moving it, no lifting it. Even if you have the most non-staining paint, you're not going to lift it. So that concluded clouds. That was as good as it was going to get. And I get to go on to a fun one where I get to use the fine liner and just do a whole bunch of doodles. So no pencil. I went right in with the fine liner, took my chances. And this one is for the prompt snack. And you can tell as I go through this, I am going to do 4 all at once. So you probably noticed I would do more than one sometimes because I would get behind, and so several would get done in one time whenever I could sit down and just get it done. And that's not the most ideal way to do this challenge, but it worked. I got it done by March 31st, and that was my main goal. And I did paint every day, just not always in this book. Next up here is Dandelion, and I just kept this one super simple. Again, no sketch, just threw some color on, and what happened, happened. Next up is Dolphin, and I just did this very stylized version. I saw something similar on Pixabay, and I thought, you know, that looks really fun. Not only does it look fun, it looks awesome. So that's what I did, and it was nice and fun and easy. Next up was hatchling. So I did an egg that has some cracks, like maybe a chick is trying to poke out. It's always fun to do things like this with cracks. Same with glass, you know, if you have cracked glass or something like that. It's just the smallest thing you do on your painting can make it look really cool. So this one was really fun to do, even though the paper is horrible for watercolor. It's horrible for watercolor. But yeah, this one was fun. All right, between the last one you just saw and this one, there are a couple you missed that I did not film, but you'll see them at the end. Also at the end is the giveaway winner from last Friday's video, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, this one is Bird's Nest. I just love the little blue eggs, and that's what I'm doing. This next one is for the prompt tadpole, and you cannot find any kind of good reference for a tadpole. Tadpoles are ugly. So I should have done a cartoon stylized version of a tadpole and made him cute, but I didn't. I was done in, just did tadpoles underwater, but the paper up there was just, things were just soaking in too much, so I needed to let it dry. And then this very, very last page, I make a celebration page for finishing my first ever sketchbook as an adult. I may have finished a sketchbook as a child, I don't actually know. But yes, my first ever finished to the last page sketchbook as an adult is this one. I'm so excited about it. Anyway, I do specify that as an adult. And then I do go back when I'm done with this and finish up those ugly tadpoles. Now I really regret not making some kind of cute cartoon tadpole. Oh well, the sketchbook is done. Life is good. And I'll show you this in real time. Since I did not film all of these, let's do a final flip through, remind you of all the prompts we did. Here's the list. And I did snail twice because I had two pictures I wanted to try. Lamb, coins, shiny coins in his hand. Fish, beach, gardening tools. That one's really cool. And they are some are out of order because I needed to do full pages on some of them, so then I had to double up and out of order. Daffodil, rainbow, cuckoo, platypus, so cute. This is cartoon and vacuum cleaner. I combined those two into one. My bear, I like him. I forgot to put his whiskers on. I'm going to have to do that. Tulips, another full page one. Cactus. Bird table. Didn't know what that was, so I made a bird's nest. No, I made a bird house. Sorry about that. I looked up bird table. I don't know. Internet was no help. Glassy. Pussy Willow. What's that one? Sowing. So planting seeds, basically. Pizza. I was getting so tired of working on the paper at this point. Pond Life. Clouds. You can't do clouds on this paper. Yeah, it doesn't work. Dandelion. Hatchling. I like that one. Dolphins. This is one of my favorites right here. Snack. Another full page one. Grass. Insect. Hare. Bird's nests. And tadpole, which you just saw. So yeah, some of these in the middle you didn't see, but I showed them to you just now. That was kind of fast, so just feel free to go back and pause if you want to see them again. But glad that's over with. The challenge was fun. Made me paint things I wouldn't normally. And we'll take a brief intermission here to show you I went to namepicker.net/YouTube and did the comment search based on the word giveaway, and the winner is Patutius. All right, so I'll be pinning that comment in that last Friday video, responding to this comment, letting this person know that they are the winner. And congratulations, you won a big paint set and some paper that's really fun to just mess around on. Back to the regularly scheduled show. And because it was only $7, I got 2 extra, and I want to give them away, but we have to find one of you that thinks you can handle using this paper. So I'm just not sure what the paper is good for. Colored pencil, pastels, I don't know. What are you going to use 140-pound cotton watercolor paper for when it's not sized and the water just soaks clear through the page? I don't know. But if you want one of these, I have 2 to give away. Then just enter the word giveaway anywhere in the comment below. If you want to comment on the video without entering the giveaway, just leave that word out, that's fine. But if you want one of these, then type giveaway somewhere in your comment down below. Well, that was an adventure that I am glad is over. It was very unpleasant working in this, but I was determined to fill this with all the doodle wash prompts, so I did it. I'm just glad it's over with. Do me a big favor and hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. And if you're new, consider subscribing. We have a lot of fun on this channel, mostly with watercolor, but sometimes we get distracted with other supplies. So lots of good stuff coming up because I received lots of boxes full of goodies, and I have a list of fun stuff to get through. So I almost consider this an art misadventure. Have you guys had any art misadventures lately? I would love to know about them. Make me feel better. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you in the next video. Bye for now. More wet and wet painting. I will do dry on wet. No. Back to